Hi, I'm Joe Montori of Sustainable Putnam, and today I'm going to share with you 2 rules and 5 tips for reducing your home energy costs. These rules and tips will help you to improve the indoor air quality of your home while making it more comfortable, and you'll save money while fighting climate change. Let's get started. Rule number 1 is efficiency. The cheapest energy is the energy that you don't use. Rule number 2 is electrify everything. We want to make sure that we eliminate our carbon footprint in order to make our homes more comfortable and eliminate indoor and outdoor air pollution and also eliminate our carbon footprints. Fortunately, it's also less expensive. So by electrifying everything and trying to make our energy uses as efficient as possible, we're going to actually wind up saving money over the long haul. All right, let's take a look at tip number 1, and it's go solar. Now, putting solar panels on your house isn't for everybody, and not everybody can actually do it. In fact, about 9 out of 10 homeowners are unable to put solar panels on their homes. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I did it after many attempts. It finally became doable for me, and that might be the case for you. So you should check that out first. But if it doesn't look like that's doable, maybe your roof is too shady, maybe you don't own your own home, maybe you can't afford that investment, which is significant and an important consideration. Maybe your house doesn't have a very good orientation. There's a lot of reasons why installing solar panels on your house might not be practical for you, but there is still a way to go solar, and it's called community solar. Community solar is a way in which you basically subscribe to a solar farm elsewhere, usually in upstate New York, usually on an actual farm where there's a farmer who has land that he's not using. So it's a win-win for the farmers because they lease land that's unproductive. Solar panels are installed there for the life of a solar farm, 20 to 30 years. And in the meantime, you're getting the electricity that's being produced there. You subscribe to it. There's no cost to sign up. There's no penalty for canceling your subscription. There's no installations. There's really no downside to community solar. And the upside is that you'll get a 10% discount on all of the electricity that you've been using. And so that's a real win-win-win-win-win. There's, everybody wins in this program. You'll also get, if you sign up through our program on our website, there's a page called Solarize Putnam. You'll also get a $100 gift card once your enrollment is completed. That takes a couple of months because your utility will take time to, kind of negotiate the arrangement with the solar farm and so forth. But once it's up and running, it'll be problem-free. You'll still get one bill, and on that bill, you'll see solar credits indicating a 10% discount on your electric supply. So highly recommend it. You should definitely look into it. If you have questions, you can contact Sustainable Putnam. All right, tip number 2 is LED light bulbs. If you don't have LED light bulbs all throughout your home yet, you really should. Maybe you've got a few, you haven't done them all. If you still have incandescent light bulbs, it makes sense to actually remove them, throw them away, and install LED light bulbs. And the reasons are clear on this chart. As you can see, the wattage of a LED light bulb is much lower than that of a standard incandescent. It's about 1/6 the amount of electricity. And it's nearly half the amount of a compact fluorescent light bulb. So if you still have compact fluorescents, you should get rid of those as well. Just be careful about disposal. They are toxic waste because they have mercury in them, and you do not want to just throw them in the trash can. You can bring them to Home Depot or any place else that sells compact fluorescents. You can also see that they not only use a lot less electricity, but they also last a lot longer. Look at that. I mean, you will not be changing light bulbs for a long, long time once you install LEDs. And the annual operating cost is so low that the cost of buying new bulbs, which is also very low, you'll have paid them back within months, and then you'll actually be saving money before the end of the year. So LED light bulbs, tip number 2, pretty low-hanging fruit. Everybody should be doing that. Tip number 3, we're getting a little bit more difficult, and we're getting into tips that require some investment and some planning. These are projects. Okay, so you're not going to do these tomorrow, but you should start looking into it if you haven't already. Sealing refers to eliminating the air infiltration from your outer wall to your interior walls, right? Nobody wants that, except in the summertime when the air outside is even more pleasant than the air inside. Insulation, I think everybody understands what insulation is. There's all different types. We're probably most familiar with fiberglass and foam insulation, but cellulose and rock wool are 2 other types. Before I talk more about those, let me just mention that you can get a professional energy audit that's subsidized by New York State. It costs about $200, and there's no obligation. The contractor will use an infrared camera to detect heat loss in your walls and your ceiling and your doors. They'll do a blower door test to see just how well sealed your building is. They'll try to suck air out of the house, and they'll measure that. Then once you have that work done, you can do the blower door test again and see how much improvement you've gotten. I've had that done at my house, and I thought it was well worth it, well worth the money, because I knew that the investment I was making was paying off. So sealing, you can do it yourself, or you can pay somebody to do it. There's all kinds of caulking, including putty that you can apply like Play-Doh to windowsills, foam rope that you can stuff into cracks, comes in rolls at the hardware store, or silicone caulk that you use with a caulking gun, which is a little bit more complicated and requires a little bit of skill, but it's definitely doable. Weather stripping is also something that you can attempt at home, and there's all kinds of kits at hardware stores that you can buy and apply yourself. There's door sweeps you can apply, and so forth. Insulation, again, you can do some of that yourself, or maybe all of it. Depends on your situation. Attics are the easiest thing to insulate if you have access to them. Crawl spaces are also pretty doable. You can also insulate your ducts and your pipes if they're exposed. But of course, a professional can do all of those things, plus get into the walls, which most of us are not capable of doing. They can blow insulation into the walls from behind the siding and then replace the siding, and you'll never know that they had removed it. You won't see any damage done as a result of that. So tip number 3, sealing and insulation. While foam insulation is very good in terms of its insulating properties, there are some risks with it in terms of the impact on your home air quality, indoor air quality. So that's something to be aware of. Cellulose is, which was in this photo being blown in here, cellulose is actually ground up, shredded up newspapers that have been bleached and treated so that they're insect proof and rodent proof and fireproof. I think cellulose is the best insulation, but obviously it's a personal decision. It has a higher resistance to heat transfer than rock wool or fiberglass. Not quite as high as foam, but environmentally, I believe that cellulose makes more sense. Okay, tip number 4, shop and plan for electric, not gas, not propane, appliances. Remember, we want to electrify everything in order to eliminate fossil fuel use in our homes. There's all kinds of incredibly efficient appliances today, including induction cooktops, it's basically a magnetic induction process in which just the pot is heated. The surface of the cooktop does not get hot. It's incredible. and much more efficient than traditional electric stoves, and is more efficient than propane or gas stoves. Plus, you're going to eliminate the indoor air quality problem that you would have with a propane stove or a natural gas stove. It's also safer. Air fryers, I think we're all familiar with air fryers now. They're all the rage. Air fryers are basically a type of convection oven. So an air fryer, convection oven, also more efficient. High efficiency clothes washers. Heat pump clothes dryers are amazing. They do not heat up the air. They simply draw heat from ambient air, compress it, and raise the temperature and dry your clothes. And there's no exhaust going out of your house. You don't need a vent. It vents inside the house. There's no fumes. It's just warmer air that's being vented. And the moisture is condensed out just like in a refrigerator. And speaking of refrigerators, there are incredibly efficient refrigerators around now. If you have one that you're not using in the basement, you can get $100 back, or $50 to $100 back from your utility, depending on which utility you have. And you can actually estimate your savings online if you go to EnergyStar.gov. Use the Flip Your Fridge online calculator and determine how much you could save by doing that. You can also get dishwashers that have built-in timers, and you can then run them at night. You can run your clothes washer at night and so forth. And if you switch your utility program to a day-night service or peak off-peak service, you can save money if you run more of your appliances and electrical systems at night. Okay, tip number 5 is plan the replacement of your HVAC system. If you've got an older oil-burning furnace or boiler, or maybe a propane furnace or electric baseboard heating, if these systems are getting old, if you've got central AC, heat pumps are the answer for virtually no matter what kind of system you have. Eventually, you're going to want to replace them with heat pumps. It's just a matter of time. What you want to make sure of, however, is that you plan ahead. Make sure that you've looked into this ahead of time so that if the propane furnace dies tomorrow or the oil burner goes kaput, you know what you're going to do. And you don't have to try to scramble to do the research when it's 20 degrees outside and your pipes are starting to freeze, right? You want to know all about that. So you want to go to sustainablleputnam.org/toolkit. It's on our menu for Take Action menu. Go ahead and take a look at that, and there's a planning document there to help you figure it out in advance. So that's it, our top 5 tips, and here I have them arranged in priority order. Remember, solar could go either way. If you're going with community solar, that's the first thing you should do. It just takes 5 minutes online and you're done. If you're going to install solar, that's probably going to be number 5, the last thing you should do. Installing LEDs, also relatively low-hanging fruit, small investment, small amount of time, and you'll eliminate a lot of the expense for lighting in your home. Weatherizing your home, again, a little bit more complicated, takes more of an investment, but it is an investment and it will pay back, just like upgrading your appliances over time and replacing your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. So those are our top 5 tips. I hope you've found this useful, and please like below and subscribe so you get the next installment in our video series. And please go to sustainableputnam.org, join our mailing list, and consider making a donation to Sustainable Putnam.